Death. We're going to try and answer what death is tonight. So each and every one of you should be holding on tight and thinking about it. And inshallah ta'ala we'll talk about it. Number one, Allah told us in the Quran. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. What's the next ayah? الذي خلق الموت والحياة. Do you know death? Death is something that was actually created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you know what he said? I have created death the same way that I created life. So from tonight, put in your head, death is a created thing. Something that has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said, I have created death and I have created life. I'm alive now because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created life. And I'm going to die one day because Allah created death. That's why I'm going to die. I'm going to give you a definition of death. A very short one. What death is the separation of the human soul, the soul of the human being, and also the body of the human being. And look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. Insan, mankind, the human being, does he not know there was a time when he was nothing at all? There was a time when we weren't in existence. We didn't exist. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر. There was a time when I did not exist, you didn't exist either. None of us. حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. You were not anything that was actually mentionable. You didn't exist. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَيَقُولُ الْإِنسَانُ أَإِذَا مَا مِتُّ لَسَوْفَ أُخْرَجُ حَيًّا. Mankind will say, when I die, will I be brought out? And then Allah has reminded us and said, أَوَلَا يَذْكُرُ الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَلَمْ يَكُ شَيْئًا. Mankind, do they not remember there was a time when they did not exist and we brought them into existence? There was a time when none of us existed. There was a time when only Allah was in existence. Nothing else. كَانَ اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٍ. There was a time when Allah was there and there was nothing that was in existence. After that, a time came when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to have the creation to be created. Everything. Including angels. Angels, there was a time when angels did not exist. There was a time when the heavens and the earth did not exist. There was a time when the oceans did not exist. There was a time when even the throne of Allah, which is the greatest creation that Allah has ever created in terms of size-wise. Ar-Rahman ala al-Arsh istawa. You know the Arsh of Allah is the most gigantic, it's the biggest ever creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ever created. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the day of judgment, what's going to happen? The throne of Allah will be brought. And guess what? The throne of Allah will be carried by 8 angels. 8 angels are carrying the throne of Allah. And those 8 angels, the Prophet ﷺ gave us the description of one of those angels. We human beings, sometimes we think we are tough, sometimes we think we are big. If someone is like 6'4", they're just going to walk like this. If I'm 6'4", I'm going to be walking like this, thinking like I'm a tough guy, because I'm 6'4", or maybe I'm 7, okay? Compared to the angels, we are nothing. Look at the angels that Allah created. This is the God that you have to fear, that you have to love. You have to think about Him all the time. Look at the angels. One of the angels Allah created. And this is like one of the angels that will be carrying the throne of Allah. The Prophet gave us the description of those angels. He said one of them, it will take you to travel between the earlobe of the angel to the shoulder blade. It will take you 500 years. How long does it take your earlobe, between your earlobe and your shoulder blade, for anybody to travel? Nothing. No time. But look at the angels. That's one angel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. But there was a time when no angel even existed. Only Allah existed. وَكَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ, and the throne of Allah was above the water. وَكَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ. There was a time. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. And before Allah created the heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 50,000 years before that day, before He created the heavens and the earth, 50,000 years, not like 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 5,000 years, 500 years, 50,000 years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wrote everything down. Do you know that I was going to come to Over Masjid tonight? I will be sitting here talking to you right now. You guys sitting over there, looking at me, staring at me, listening to me, trying to understand what I'm about to say. 50,000 before Allah created, years before He created the heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote everything down. All the things that will happen, big and small, everything has been written down. Right now, we are talking about death. And all of humanity, as I said from the beginning, all the races, all people, regardless of where they come from, they all agree that all of us will die. A time is going to come and each one of us will die. And listen to this, brother and sister. Brothers and sisters, listen to this. All the people will die. No one doubts that. And we just mentioned what death is. Death is only the separation of the soul which is inside you and the body that you have. That's what death is. But when the death happens, it doesn't mean that you are gone forever. Our souls, everyone pay attention, the soul that we have inside us, that soul is immortal. What does immortal mean? Yeah? It will never die. That's true. We have been created, our souls have been created, and our souls will never die. When the soul leaves the body, all it means is like just a temporary death has taken place. Only a temporary death. While your body and the soul will be separated. And when the soul comes off and leaves the body, your body becomes nothing. You know, if somebody touched your body after a few minutes, after your death, after an hour, after a few minutes, your body just tends to be like a wood. That's it. You know that table I'm just... If your body is left for a while, it becomes like this. Have you seen dead people? Have you touched people who've just passed away? I have seen that. I've touched them. I've felt them. I know what it feels like. When somebody dies, the person who was able to move around, the person that had the flexible hands, that you could do this and that, that person, when the soul leaves the body, that person just becomes like a wood. That's it. If you touch their hand, and if you try to pick up their hand, it's just like a piece of wood. That's what the person is going to become like. Just remember this, because what makes you move, what makes you be a human being is the soul that you have inside. But the question now is, do we actually know what the soul is about? What is the soul? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, the people of Quraysh, they became upset with the Prophet, but they didn't know how to challenge him, because the Prophet he was very knowledgeable for them. So the people of Quraysh, they have turned to the people of the book. Who are the people of the book? Raise your hand if you know the people of the book. Who are the people of the book? You're the brother at the back. Yes, well done. The Jews and the Christians, they were the people of the book. Allah gave them books. They had knowledge. So some of the people from Medina, who were Jewish people, they came to Medina. They came to Mecca. And the leaders of Mecca, they said, we got someone called Muhammad, and this guy is a problem to all of us. He's causing havoc amongst our community and society. We need to ask him some difficult questions. Can he help us get these questions? And we got to challenge him and see how good he is. So they came up with 3 questions. They said to the people of Quraysh, ask him these 3 questions. The only one who will be able to answer these 3 questions has to be a prophet. No one else can answer these questions. So what the questions that the Jewish people gave to the people of Quraysh, one of them was, ask him who the people of Al-Kahf, who the young people who went to the cave, ask him. The next question, ask him who's Dhul Qarnayn, who's the guy who's been to the east and west. Ask him who that guy is. And the last question they said, you need to ask him about the soul. Let's find out if he knows anything to do about the soul. Does he know about it? So the Prophet ﷺ, the people of Quraysh, the leaders came to him. They said to him, you have been claiming to be a prophet, but we have got questions for you. We have a series of questions, and if you answer them correctly, we might consider becoming one of your followers. And the Prophet ﷺ said to them, okay, ask me what are these questions. They asked him the 3 questions. The Prophet ﷺ said, I'm going to bring the answers tomorrow. He didn't say, which word did he not say? He said, I'm going to bring it tomorrow. Because the Prophet, he could not make things up. The Prophet, if he didn't know anything regarding any matter, he had to wait for the answers from Allah. So he can't just make things up. So the answers came. And when the answers came, which was later in the time the Prophet promised, the people of Quraysh were getting like frustrated and saying, you don't know anything, you're just someone who's just making up things. And they were accusing him of things, but the Prophet, he can't make things up. He has to wait for the message to come from Allah. And guess what happened when the answers came? One of the answers was regarding the soul. And Surah Al-Isra, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They're going to ask you about the soul. They're going to ask you about your soul. They're going to ask you about information regarding the human soul. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. O Muhammad, say to them, قُلْ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. The soul is from the command of my Lord. And then Allah after that has said, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You have not been given anything when it comes to knowledge apart from something small. The knowledge that we have is very small compared to the knowledge of Allah. Do you know how knowledgeable Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is? Allah's knowledge is so vast. That's why it has been said, يَعْلَمُ مَا كَانَ وَمَا يَكُونُ وَمَا سَيَكُونُ وَمَا لَمْ يَكُنْ أَنْ لَوْ كَانَ كَيْفَ يَكُونُ. Everyone pay attention. If someone asks you how knowledgeable Allah is, how much Allah knows, look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Compared to our knowledge is very limited. The knowledge of Allah is so unlimited. It's so vast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the past. He knows the present. He knows the future. He knows what will not happen if they were to happen, how they would have happened. That's how knowledgeable Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said to human beings, in order to show them how knowledgeable He is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He was to start talking, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke and just kept talking, and we keep writing whatever Allah has to say, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. وَلَوْ أَنَّ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ أَقْلَامٍ وَالْبَحْرُ يَمُدُّهُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ سَبْعَةُ أَبْحُرٍ مَا نَفِدَتْ كَلِمَاتُ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَوْ أَنَّ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ أَقْلَامٍ. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to turn every tree which exists inside our world, every tree, if Allah has turned it into a pen that you can use for writing, and all the oceans that exist, the Atlantic Ocean, this ocean, that ocean, the Pacific Ocean, all the oceans, all the rivers, everything put together, all of them were turned into an ink to write with. An ink for the pen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and on top of that, then repeated again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, my words would not have finished. Allah was able to continue talking and give us more information. That is who Allah is. Guys, young people, pay attention. That's who we're dealing with. We are dealing with Allah. He's the one who created everything. The one who created the life that we have, the death that will come and visit us. And guess what? Death itself, a time is gonna come where death itself has to die. Death itself will have to die. And when death dies, no one will ever die. And the people of Jannah and the people of Hellfire, both of them will be looking at death itself dying and being killed. And the people of Hellfire that day, they will know that they have no chance of ever dying. They will never lose their life after that. The soul will always remain inside their bodies. And the people of Jannah will know that they will all live forever. All of them, they will live forever. Because death itself has actually gone. Remember that. The question now is, if everybody has to die, upon what state do we want to die? Do we just want to die like the animals die? Do we just want to die like the dog dies? Do we want to die like the donkey dies? How do we want to die? That's the question now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us how we need to die. If you're playing with your phone, if you're busy with your phone right now, you should not be busy with your phone. Why? Because the topic we are talking about is something more serious than being busy with your phone. Because it's about death. It's about death. Each and every one of us should be thinking about the same. How am I going to die? What state do I want to be in when I'm about to die? Am I going to just die like the animals die and then be nothing? Subhanallah. What am I going to get? How am I going to be received by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah told us in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Young people, this conference has been organized for you. This conference is for you to benefit. This conference was held so you can benefit. Why did I travel all the way from Sheffield? Why did I travel all the way from Sheffield? I left my family. This was to come and see you guys. To remind myself and you about the concept of death. You need to say, the few moments I'm here, I want to benefit from these few moments. And I want to contemplate and learn lessons and go home tonight and decide for myself, I don't want to die except in a state of Islam. I want to be a Muslim when I die. How can you make sure that you're going to remain as a Muslim when you're going to die? The question now is, no one knows how they're going to die, when they're going to die, where they're going to die, in what state are they going to die. إن الله عنده علم الساعة وينزل الغيث ويعلم ما في الأرحام وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. Allahu Akbar. Allah, He is the one who knows the unseen. No one else knows that. Everyone else, all the humans, none of us knows the unseen, what is going to happen next. وَيُنَزِّلِ الْغَيْثِ, Allah, He's the one who brings down the rain. And Allah is the one who knows what is in the womb of your mother. You know the womb of the woman? No one knows at the beginning what is that womb, what is inside it. وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثَ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا. And no one knows what they're going to earn tomorrow. And look at the next one. وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. And no soul knows where they're going to die. No soul knows. No one knows where you're going to die. The question now is, if we're going to die, and we all know we're going to die, because the Prophet ﷺ himself, he was reminded, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. You're going to die, O Prophet Muhammad, and the people who are against you, meaning Abu Jahl, meaning Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, meaning Rabi'ah, Abu Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, meaning all those people who are against you, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, and all those guys, they're gonna die just like you're gonna die. All of you will die. The Prophet ﷺ was told, like everyone else, if the Prophet ﷺ died, no one is gonna be saved. All of us will have to die. But the question now is, how do I want to die? Do you know Prophet Yaqub? Prophet Yaqub, alayhi salam, the father of Yusuf, before he died, he gathered all of his kids. أَمْ كُنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءَ إِذْ حَضَرَ يَعْقُوبَ الْمَوْتِ. Were you present when the time of death came to Yaqub alayhi salam, and he gathered his sons, his children, and he said to them, when I die, مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. What are you going to worship after I die? Young people, your parents might die before you. Your father might die before you. Your mother might go before you. But the question now is, what are you going to worship after they pass away? After they die, now you are a Muslim, but will you remain as a Muslim? Are you going to continue being a Muslim? That's what the Prophet Yaqub said to his sons. What are you going to worship after I die? He wanted to hear that from them. He said, مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. And look what they said. We want to know their answer. What did they say? قَالُوا نَعْبُدُ إِلَهَكَ. They said, Liban, you've been a great, mashallah, student, and I want you to continue to be a great student, inshallah. You've been a great student, and I want you to keep on being a great student. Excellent. Look next. Prophet Yaqub, look at what his son said to him. They said to him, نَعْبُدُ إِلَهَكَ وَإِلَهَ آبَائِكَ. We're going to worship your ilah, meaning Allah. And we're going to worship the ilah of your forefathers. وَإِلَهَ آبَائِكَ. The ilah of Ibrahim, the ilah of Ismail, the ilah of Ishaq. They said, we're going to worship. As Muslims, we need to say today, when our parents die, if they die before us, you need to say, Ma, you need to say to your parents, when they're about to die, and if you're sitting next to them, and your father says to you, what are you going to worship if I die? Who's going to be your Lord? What religion upon are you going to be? Upon what religion? You need to say, I want to be worshipping your Allah. I want to worship your Lord. And I want to die as a Muslim. That's the message. Very important, because death is going to come. Regardless, death is going to come. And the Prophet ﷺ has passed away and he died. And I want to share with you, all of us as human beings, we don't like to die. Is there anyone who likes to die? Can you raise your hand if you want to die now? Anyone ready for death now? No one is ready for death, including myself. I'm not ready for death now. Because we're scared. Because we know maybe we haven't done enough to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala become merciful with us. How is Allah going to be merciful to us if we are not worshipping Him? How is Allah going to treat us well if we are not listening to Allah and obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So as a Muslim right now, if death comes, will you be ready and prepared to die? Listen to this. Death. One of the companions, Abu Darda, he said, death actually is a gift for the believer. And he said it's a gift for the non-believers. Both of them. He said death is good for both of them. I'm sure all of you are shocked right now. Abu Darda, when he said that, death is better for the Muslim and for the non-Muslim, he said. And then the companions, the people who were with him, they were shocked. And he knew that they were going to be shocked. And he said to them, I know you're surprised that I said that, but I'm going to prove that to you from the Quran. The Sahaba, they didn't speak without proofs. They spoke with proof. He said, I'm going to tell you right now what I mean that death is good for you and death is good for the non-believer. And then the people said, we're waiting for that. He said, death is good for the believer. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لِلْأَبْرَارِ. What is with Allah is far more better than what that person has in this life when it comes to a believer. The righteous one, what is waiting for him when he meets his Lord is far better than what he has in this world. They said, okay, we understand the believer. What about for the person who's a non-believer? How is death going to be good to him? He said, I'm going to show that to you as well from the Quran. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. He said, وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Those who disbelieve should not think when we let them live and we give them a respite, a time to live, they should not think. أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ. The reason we gave them that chance is for them to earn more khayr, for them to get something good. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that's not the reason we allowed them to live longer. Allah said, إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. We gave them the chance to live longer so they can earn more and more sins. And when they die, Allah said, وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. When they die, they're going to have a severe punishment. And Abu Darda said, because of that, death is good for the believer and death is good for the non-believer. If someone is a non-believer and they're given a long life, that long life, the longer they live, the more sins they're going to commit. The more sins they're going to commit, the more severe their punishment will be in the hereafter. As for a believer, in this world, life is difficult. Because when the believer checks out from this life, he goes to the life of Al-Barzakh. The question now is, what is Al-Barzakh? What's the next life? And I'm going to share with you something very important. Each and every one of you pay attention. One of the great students of Imam Malik. Everyone pay attention. One of the great students of Imam Malik, his name was Abdul Rahman ibn Qasim. He was like one of the big students. But that Imam, he's going to teach us something important. Look at the ulama of Islam, how they understand the religion. Ulama of Islam, look at Imam Abdul Rahman ibn Qasim what he said. He said, the human being will live in 4 different houses. Do you know where you will live? All of us, we will live in 4 different houses. He said, each house, the one that precedes it, or the one that comes before it, every house is bigger than the one that precedes it, the one before it. Meaning, number 2 is going to be bigger than number 1. The house number 1 is not going to be as big as house number 2. And house number 3 is going to be bigger than house number 2. And house number 4 is going to be bigger than house number 3. All of us are looking forward to these 4 houses now. The question now is, which one is house number 1? All of us will live in 4. It's not a haze, okay? I don't want anyone of you saying, is that our flat? Our flat is okay. It's kind of like, no. It's got nothing to do with London or Southall or Sheffield. It's totally different. These 4 houses are different. But each house of these 4, the one after is going to, number 1, house number 1 is the womb of your mother. That's number 1. House number 1 is the womb of your mother. Your mom, the womb of your mother or the tummy of your mom is very, very restricted house. Do you know when I was in the womb of my mother? Can anyone remember when you were in the womb of your mother? None of us can remember that. That house, that first house was very restricted house, very restrictive. And then the day you came out to the second house. Which house are we living right now? The house of this dunya. Well done. The house of this world. This is house number 2. This house, compared to the womb of the mother, this house is far bigger. It's far more expansive. People can do a lot more. I can do a lot more things than I was able to do inside the womb of my mother. Inside the womb of my mother, I was like a little fetus, coiled up like this. I wasn't able to move, I wasn't able to walk, I wasn't able to run. But in this life, or this house, am I able to run? Everyone answer me. Am I able to run?
Yeah.
Am I able to walk? Am I able to drive a car? Am I able to go from one continent to the next? Am I able to do that? Which house is bigger? This one or the womb? This house is bigger than it. The question now is, there's going to be a third house. A third house. That third house is going to be bigger than the house that we live in right now, which is the dunya. Which one do you think is the third house? Well done. But where there's one house before that. Yes. The grave. Well done. The life of the grave is the third house. The life of the grave is the third house. That house is a lot bigger than the house that we live in right now. That's why, everyone pay attention. That's why, look, when we die, we're going to go to the barzakh. Barzakh is totally a new life. Because now when your soul leaves your body, and we said that was death. Because what was death? Who's going to tell me? What's death? I gave you the definition, yes. But what was the meaning of it? We said death is when that happens. Yes, in the back. Yes, when the soul leaves the body, that's death. Okay? But guess what? I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit like, wow, what's that? I'm going to tell you something, everyone pay attention. Do you know that all of us, every day we die? We all die. Every single day. When is that? Well done, clever. What's your name? Yunus. Well done, Yunus. وَإِنَّ يُونُسَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ إِذْ أَبَقَ إِلَى الْفُلْكِ الْمَشْحُونَ. Okay? Yunus was one of the prophets of Allah. Okay? Guess what? When we sleep during the night or during the morning, our soul temporarily leaves the body in a certain way. Like Allah said, Allahu yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the soul of the human being when his time of death comes. وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا. And the one that doesn't die during sleep, what happens? That one, the soul comes back to your body. But if Allah wants you to die while you sleep, He keeps the soul and He never releases it back to your body. And that's why when you become dead. And that people will say, Mom will be crying, Mom will be saying, my son went to sleep last night, he was fine, he said goodbye to me, like bye-bye when he was going, and he said to me, I love you, Mom, and he went to sleep. But Fajr time, when I tried to wake him up, he's not waking up. Ahmed, wake up. Ahmed's not moving. Ahmed, wake up. He's not moving. No answer, no reply. What happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not release the soul to come back to your body. Finish. You're gone. Can that happen to any one of us? Yes. Very important. Therefore, when you go into sleep during the night, do you want to go to sleep doing something good before you sleep? Or do you want to go to sleep when you were doing something bad? Imagine if someone was watching something haram before he slept. Someone was in his room watching something haram and then they fell asleep. What was the last thing that you did before you went to bed and you slept? You were watching something haram. You were listening to something that was haram. Imagine if your soul never came back to your body. That means you died in a state which is a dangerous state. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us before we go to sleep, we need to make wudu, we need to recite Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul huwallah, Ayat al-Kursi. Do you know Ayat al-Kursi? Who knows Ayat al-Kursi? All of us in it. Well done. Ayat al-Kursi. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Sheikh, is my time up? I still got time. Alhamdulillah. But these guys are feeling bored right now. Are you guys bored? You want me to continue or you want me to stop? Stop. Stop it. The guys who are telling me to stop, they're the truthful ones. You want me to continue or you want me to stop? Continue. Oh, you've been very kind to me, guys. MashaAllah.
After we came from very far, haven't you?
Yes, okay, inshallah. So let me say this. When you sleep, what's going to happen to you is you could die. So the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded us that when you are about to sleep, what you need to be doing. Very, very important. And now, I'm going to move on to the next step. If you are a believer, a true believer, should you fear death or should you not fear death? What did we say? If someone is a true believer, they should not be fearing death. They should be saying we're ready to die. But human beings normally don't like to die. And I'm going to share with you something. Do you know Prophet Musa alayhi salam? Everyone pay attention. Prophet Musa alayhi salam, he was like one of the top 5 prophets. Who knows the top 5 prophets? Can you mention their names? The top 5 prophets and messengers of Allah. They're the top 5. Every one of you, I want you to give me one that you know. Okay, let me start. You want to give me one? What's your name? Muhammad, mashallah, beautiful name. Give me one of the 5, top 5.
Me.
Give me one of the 5.
My name is Naheem.
Give me one of the 5 top prophets. Muhammad, well done, mashallah, clever. He said, my name is one of them. So that means Prophet Muhammad is one of the top 5 prophets. Who's going to give me another prophet who's one of the top 5? Yes. Prophet Adam. Am I going to take that one? So my finger is still down. When I let my finger come out, that means that one is correct. Okay? So let me see. Yes, give me another top. Prophet Ibrahim, well done. My finger is up. That means he's one of the top 5. My finger is up. We still have 3 more to go. MashaAllah. Sheikh, you should be giving the young brothers who are answering the question prizes. Okay? That's what I like to do.
They can come to us after.
Okay. Anybody who answers a question, we need to come and see the Sheikh. Well done. Number 2. Who's going to be number 3? Yes, you. Prophet Isa. Well done. He's one of the top 5. Yes, at the back with the phone. Yes. Prophet Musa. Well done. How many do we have so far? 4. I have 1 more to go. One of the top 5. Somebody that I didn't ask before. Okay, someone who didn't answer. Yes, you. Prophet Noah. Well done, mashallah. These are the top 5 prophets. They're the top 5. But pay attention. Why was I telling you these top 5? Do you know when the angel of death came to Prophet Musa? Prophet Musa and the angel of, you know, the prophets, angels, they had been given the opportunity because they were not like us. The prophets were the top people, like the highest. In terms of human beings, they're the highest rank. So the prophets, one of the things that Allah gave them was they used to be given the opportunity to know when they're about to die. So Prophet Musa, the angel of death came to him and visited him and told him that this is the time for him to die. Prophet Musa, he got upset. And then he hit the angel of death. The angel of death got hit. And the angel of death went back to Allah and said, your slave Musa, when I told him this was the time that he was supposed to die, he got upset and hit me. What am I going to do? Look, the angel of death is another creation. Allah created the angel of death. So angel of death cannot do whatever the angel of death wants, has to take commands from Allah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everyone pay attention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said to the angel of death, I want you to go back to Musa alayhi salam. Go back and take with you what? An ox. It's like a, which means, do you know the male of the cow? Take that one. And on the back of that, what happens is, as you know, it's quite furry in it. You know, the cows, they've got too much fur on top of them, like hair. So go to Prophet Musa and tell him to place his palm on top of that, on the back of the cow. And then what's going to happen, any hair or fur that the palm of Prophet Musa covers will be counted. So each hair will represent 1 year. And then after that, if Musa will live for that long, imagine how many pieces of hair do you think the hand of Prophet Musa would cover? Probably a lot. could be hundreds. And then Prophet Musa was told to place his palm on top of it. And then Prophet Musa has said, what will happen after that? And then Angel of Death said to him, I'm going to take your life after that. Prophet Musa said, I would rather die now. He said, I don't want to live for that long and then die again. He said, I give up now, I'm ready to die. But look at Prophet Ibrahim. When the Angel of Death came to him, and the Angel of Death said to him, everyone pay attention. When the Angel of Death came to him, the Angel of Death said to him, this is the time for you to die. Prophet Ibrahim, look at how subtle he was. Prophet Ibrahim has said, have you seen a great friend who takes the life of his best friend? Have you seen a friend who takes the life of his best friend? Who was the best friend of Ibrahim? Raise your hand. Who was the best friend of Ibrahim? Allah, well done. Allah said, Ibrahim is my Khalil. He's my best friend. So Prophet Ibrahim has said to the angel, have you ever seen someone who has taken the life of his best friend? Angel of Death didn't know the answer to that question. So Angel of Death went back to Allah and has said to Allah, I have been to Ibrahim alayhi salam and he told me this. He said to me, have you seen a friend who has taken the life of his best friend? Look at the answer of Allah. Look at the answer of Allah. So now you're probably saying, what will Allah say about this? How will Allah get out of this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look what he said. He said, go back to Ibrahim and tell him, have you seen a friend who doesn't want to meet his best friend? Wow. Wicked, isn't it? Amazing. So now Prophet Ibrahim, he's been given one that he can't get out. Have you seen a friend that doesn't want to meet his best friend? And when the Angel of Death came back to him and told him that, Prophet Ibrahim said, I'm ready to die now. And his life was taken. As human beings, what was the point I was trying to make? As human beings, we don't like to die. We want to live. But guess what? The Angel of Death, because we're talking about death. One of the Anbiya of Banu Israel, they have spoken to the Angel of Death and said to the Angel of Death, because all of us, we are saying to ourselves, it's not really nice. Angel of Death should have kind of like told us that this is our time to die. We should have been given a warning before our death comes and things like this. But look at the Angel of Death. Angel of Death was asked this very question. Oh, Angel of Death, why do you not send a message to the people before you come and take their lives? Angel of Death has said, I do send many messages. Can you believe that? Angel of Death has said, I do send a lot of messages all the time. And then the Prophet said, what are these like messages that you send us? And the Angel of Death has said, when the person is sick, when you become ill, that's a message from the Angel of Death saying to you, there's going to come a time when you're going to die. The same way that you're just feeling unwell now, a time will come, I'm going to take your life. Be warned. You are not immortal. It's a reminder. Angel of Death has said, I do send another message. Angel of Death has said, when your beard becomes grey, if you begin to have grey hair, that's a message from the Angel of Death saying, your time is coming. I started to have few now. I'm getting few messages from the Angel of Death. It's telling me the time is coming near. Also, the Angel of Death has said, when you get older and your eyesight is not as good as it used to be when you were younger, that's another message from the Angel of Death telling you your time is about to come. Angel of Death has said, when your hearing is not as good as it used to be, that's a sign that I'm coming. And guess what? Angel of Death has said, when I send all of those messages and the person doesn't take heed from any of them, what's going to happen? The Angel of Death has said, I am going to be the last message that will come. And when I come, it's going to be too late. Because when the Angel of Death comes, the Angel of Death will come and snatch your life away. Finished. And you're going to be dead. So right now, each and every one of us, we should be saying to ourselves, we need to die as Muslims. We know what death is like. And each and every one of us, we have one life. We don't have two lives. If we die once, we're not going to be given a chance to come back and live in this world and do something good again. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, if you die once, that's it. Otherwise, whatever good you did is good. Whatever. Jazakumullah khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.